Hi guys, today I apologise for the camera angle firstly, but I was just bulk filming the basic special effects series. Now I've got to show you this. I've got my little brush belt on, so I will be referring to that in this video. But I sort of realised I'm working a lot with wax, and I know that one hell of a lot of people have problems with wax and things like that, and that I see it on the forums, on like Facebook and things like that people really struggle with blending wax into the skin. So I thought I'd do a video primarily talking about scar wax and showing you how to create it. Now I'm pretty much going to be going over the first tutorial, which is a fresh scar sort of cut, but I'm not going to paint it in this video. So if you want to see how to paint this sort of thing, go and watch the other video that'll be linked in the description of the playlist, and that'll show you how to paint it up and match your skin and bloody it up and how to make the blood look good, and that's sort of like a movie camera quality cut. So go and watch that. But for now, I'm just going to show you how to work with the wax and get it to blend into the skin realistically. So this is the scar wax I like to use, and this is the Ben Nye Nose and Scar Wax, and I've got the colour NW2 Fair. Now, to be honest, this is a pretty good match for my skin most of the time. Once I've either bruised or bloodied it up, it doesn't seem to show. But if you need to colour it to your skin, I like to take the Kryolan Supra colour, and what I'll do is I'll scrape out a tiny bit with a sculpting tool, a pointed end one like that, and then knock it into the scar wax and like knead it, if you like, in your fingers, and that'll colour the scar wax a little bit better to your skin tone. So you're ready to apply to your skin. So what I like to do first is taking a red eyeliner, I like to mark out where the scar, the cut, whatever it is going to be. From there, you need to take an adhesive, because a lot of people sort of panic when it comes to scar wax. Oh, it's not going to stay on, it's not going to stay on. Now, no, it is very, very easy to knock it off. But if you use spirit gum, this one's the Kryolan spirit gum, can I just add, please be sure you've got the remover, because I struggled to get spirit gum off with 99% alcohol. Put down some spirit gum first and tap the spirit gum with something like this, a cotton bud or your finger. I prefer this because I find that cotton buds tend to stick to the spirit gum and make a mess, and my fingers I just get sticky and disgusting. This is the next best thing, until which time the skin starts coming up with the spirit gum, and you'll know when it's ready to stick because it gets really, really, really tacky. If you don't want to tap, then you can always leave it to set for a little bit, which is what my normal choice is. So I'll apply the spirit gum to the desired area, and then I'll take some scar wax, and what I'll do is I'll take the other end of my sculpting tool, so it's sort of rounded, scoop a little bit of the scar wax out, apply lots and lots of Vaseline to my fingers, as I find that's the best way to stop it sticking to your fingers. I've tried moisturisers, I've tried baby wipes, and they all tend to get sticky really fast. So I cover all of my hand in a light layer of Vaseline before working with the scar wax. I use the whole hand covered because, one, it gives your hands a nice moisturise, and two, you don't know what parts of your hands you're going to end up using to blend or shape the scar wax. In this case, we're going to be doing a straight cut, so I'm going to be making a snake out of the scar wax. If you're going to do something like a bullet wound, then I recommend something like a marble sort of shape, but really, you need to use the least amount possible. As you can see in the VT now, I am barely using any, and that is because we want it to sit nice and flush with the skin. If the scar raises up too much, then it's going to look fake, because it's not going to sit nicely with the skin. Now, if you've just shaped that, your spirit gum should be tacky by now, so then go ahead and lay the scar wax on your spirit gum. If it doesn't stick straight away, pull it off and tap it. Tap it with the tool that I showed you earlier, this one here. Once it's nice and tacky, stick the scar wax down. Now just give it a couple of seconds to set. Once it's set, we can go ahead and start blending it. So as you can see, I've got an industrial sized pot of Vaseline here, and this is my favourite way to blend scar wax into the skin. And you'll see what I mean now when less is more with scar wax, because I like to take the sculpting tool here and dip it in the Vaseline and then start to blend the edges as I'm showing you. Now, I find that gets a nice flush look with the skin, and it's easy to scrape away any extra scar wax that you don't need. Now you'll start to see what I mean, because the less scar wax you have, so much easier to blend into the skin. The more scar wax you have, you're going to end up having to cut bits away, which is going to pull bits up, and it's going to make a mess. But it does take a bit of practice to sort of get the idea of how much scar wax to take. And it is a long learning curve. I mean, I've been using scar wax for about a year, and now I'm pretty nifty with it. It's a horrible product to use, but I really like it now because it is a really practical, out of the kit way to do it. If you can't afford things like third degree, for example. Now once you've got it sitting quite flush and nicely with the skin, you'll really notice it stand out like a sore thumb. Whether that's the colour, we can sort that out in a colouring tutorial another time. But don't worry about the colour for now. We're going to be talking about pores now, because obviously the scar wax is going to have a lovely smooth texture and a lovely smooth finish, whereas your skin has pores in it. So now, depending on how big the pores are around the scar wax, you want to take a stipple sponge if they're bigger. But what I like to use is actually a pore sponge that looks like this. And I've found that these give so much more subtle and realistic looking pores. So if your spirit gum has got into the scar wax and it's tacky, dip your pore sponge in a little tiny bit of Vaseline, just dunk it on top of the Vaseline and start to stipple over where the wax is, and you'll start to notice it blend into the skin a lot better. Really focus this around the edges, so that's going to get you some really nice edges going on. Scar wax is difficult to blend completely, but the less you use, as I keep saying, the easier it is. Once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and now make your incision. So you've got a couple of different options here. What I tend to find works best is this, which I use for the spirit gum. So clean it off first, otherwise it's just going to stick to the wax and rip all your hard work up, and we've got this far already. So what I'll do is I'll take the spatula, dip it in a bit of Vaseline, but really coat it. Start in the middle of the wound, and if it's going to be one single line, I'll pull out one way completely, really slowly, otherwise you're just going to rip the scar wax up. And then I'll re-dip or remove any scar wax that's on the spatula first, cover it in Vaseline again, and then put it in and pull. That's going to make a really nice clean line. And then if you need to go in again and sort of refine any edges of the scar wax, you can go ahead and take this, which is your sculpting tool from earlier, and I just like to scrape out, and I'll cover it with Vaseline, blend down the edges as I'm showing you in the video, and that's pretty much how I would blend. You can always re-go over with the pore sponge and re-porify if you did remove any in the blending process, and you just got to keep working with it, and it does take a lot of practice to work with scar wax. It is sort of one of the basics that a lot of people use in basic tutorials, but a lot of people struggle to use it, and I think it is genuinely quite a difficult product to use. But when, like this sort of video, take you through it slowly, practice, use a tiny amount at a time, and you'll get the hang of it. It's really not as difficult once you get a sort of advance with it as what I've had, and it's a really nice product to use. It doesn't last ages, but it looks really nice for things like photo shoots, etc. So I hope that video helped you out. If you did enjoy this, then please give it a thumbs up, because that's really going to help me out, and share it with all the other people that you may know, in case they want to use it for Halloween or any other thing like that. And yeah, whatever else you need to learn for the Basic Effects series, leave a comment down below. Check out the playlist, which will be around here, or down there, or in the description, and learn a bit more about the other types of ways I use a wax, and other different types of effects as well. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I love you all so much, and I shall see you all in the next video. Take care!
So when I saw the Charlie challenge, I did get quite ticked off at the fact that there were people doing it. Because in my eyes, it's sort of a bit like a Ouija board, and